Hey guys, how you doing? My name is CODENAMEBIGBEAR, or Stuart if you want to call me by my first name. Today we're going to be talking about the Justice League again. I know, you've probably seen a lot about it over the last week or so, but I'm going to do it, and then it's the last one I'm going to do until it becomes important again. What I'm going to be discussing is just a few points that I don't know, I just quite want to talk about, to be honest. Things that people have problems with, or things I have problems with, or things I just thought were particularly awesome in this movie. If you watched my last Justice League video, you know that I just love this. I absolutely love this film. All of it. Every last bit of it. Yeah, I'm just going to talk about it now. So one point of the film that people have complained about is that Steppenwolf wasn't really much better in this version of the film than he was in the 2017 version. I'd actually argue he was way, way better. He was actually quite a decent villain. He was really powerful. He was really brutal, and he had way more motivation. We had more understanding of why his motivation was a thing, especially when it came to, you know, like not saying mother all the time, and the fact that he was a reject of Apocalypse, which is the planet he comes from. Yeah, and he was his entire life was dedicated to being Darkseid. Well, not being Darkseid, but dedicated to being by Darkseid's side again. And yeah, and he was just really, really good, and I really, really enjoyed him. Yeah, especially compared to the original version of Justice League. One thing that does stand out when it comes to this version of Steppenwolf is his armor and his entire new look. He looks completely different, and his armor is very cool. It's very, very cool. It is constantly like an organic part of him. It's constantly moving. It gets more like spiked when he's more threatened. You know, if he catches arrows and just kind of shocks them out or just breaks them out of him, and he's pretty much indestructible in this armor, and it kind of makes sense. You know, like I say, he's you know, an apocalypsean, and you know, is that the correct word? I'm not sure it is, but he's basically from that planet, and it just makes more sense that he has this armor that makes him pretty much indestructible. But one thing I thought was really, really cool is the fact that it kind of shows his emotions a little bit. When Darkseid turns up in this movie, it fully retracts back. And it shows off that he's actually got horns rather than looking like it's just a helmet with horns. Do you know what I mean? But it fully retracts back. He just completely he just submits to Darkseid. And that was just a really cool moment. And then later on in the movie, you have Superman is basically beating up Steppenwolf, and it retracts again. It's like, okay, no, I've had enough. I give up. And as a result, he ends up getting more damaged. So yeah, it kind of probably explains why Steppenwolf was always meant to fail, because even though he gave up in a very brief moment and he did fight back later, because he gave up, he just truly failed. You know, it's kind of put it into like real life situation. Yeah, you're in an MMA fight. You're being ground and pounded. You're being pummeled, and you're just blocking yourself, and you can't do anything at all. So you're like, I give up. I just you know, please stop hitting me. That's kind of how the armor kind of comes across. But obviously, Steppenwolf was always going to get up and fight again. But at that point, his emotions just couldn't control what was going on here. That's the way I took it anyway. I thought it was a really nice touch. If that is the case, I obviously don't know. You'll have to ask Zack Snyder properly about that one. I haven't done so. Like he's going to reply to my text, or whatever the text, my tweets. But on that moment of when it was just a really interesting moment. So on that moment of when Superman is just pummeling Steppenwolf, Superman is doing it for quite some time. I don't think people realise this. He has just stood over Steppenwolf, and he's hitting him, and then hitting him, and then hitting him, and he's just going on and on and on, and he's still just going right up to the point the bad guys win. He is still pummeling the crap out of this guy, and he's doing it slowly. And again, Steppenwolf was very powerful. He can clearly take Superman's hits, because Superman, I don't think he's holding back here. I think he's just genuinely like, nah, you're doing it. You're gonna die. You're at least gonna be submitted anyway, because like shockwaves are coming off of this guy. just punch, shockwave. Like, he's being hit that hard, Superman is literally affecting the air around him. And he just keeps on going. And I just thought that was really quite interesting, especially the fact that Superman had just been revived and attacked the Justice League and didn't really quite know who he was. I still kind of get a feeling that even though he knew who he was, he still had a little bit something wrong with him at this point. So if Darkseid did win for whatever reason, or something like happened, I think Darkseid could manipulate that and turn him into evil Superman. Now, obviously, I'm guessing that obviously the death of Lois is going to really be the trigger of that, but I really think that that's how Darkseid could again manipulate Superman into becoming evil Superman in that way, going, well, yeah, we may have killed your other half, your lady love, but you kind of always were a bad guy. That kind of thing. Like, you died, you came back, you killed my stepmom, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I'm rambling on about that. But it brings me on to Darkseid. Darkseid is actually a really important character within this film. Like, extremely important. He's really there to set up the next, the next movies and the franchise, essentially. That's the big franchise villain. But he's so important and he's really cool, and his presence is definitely felt throughout, and I loved it. And when he first turned up, I was super giddy, and then when he first turns up and speaks as even as a column of like molten metal or whatever it is that he was, I got really excited, and I was so excited, I was so pumped. I was like, oh my god, he's gonna step through, is him and Superman gonna have a fight? Because at that point I was like I was 3 hours into the film, then some by that point, I suppose. But I didn't really know how long I was through the film, and I was just so excited to see Darkseid and a potential of Darkseid versus Superman here. And that's purely down to because years ago there was a Justice League cartoon, and Superman and Darkseid had a really epic fight. Like, Superman is literally, they're both punching the crap out of each other. You're flying through buildings and everything. And at one point, Superman's like, right, well, do you know how hard it's been for me on this planet? How hard it is for me to hug the people I love without killing them? How hard it has been to even pick up a cup without breaking it? But I'm going to show you how powerful I really am, because you can take it. And then he just, pow! And Darkseid flies off, and he flies up after him, and he gets just above him, slams him, and he goes straight into the ground, and this big old crater. And it's so good. It was so good.
I feel like I live in a world made of cardboard, always taking constant care not to break something, to break someone. Never allowing myself to lose control, even for a moment, or someone could die. But you can take it, can't you, big man? What we have here is a rare opportunity for me to cut loose and show you just how powerful I really am.
And the closest thing we got to it was Kal-El versus Zod in Man of Steel. And that was the closest thing we got to that live-action version of the fight that I've always wanted to see. And the fact Darkseid was here, and he was in this movie, and just, it didn't happen. But if there's a sequel, which, come on, let's face it, it's probably not going to happen, but if there is a sequel, I really hope there is, that fight has to be realised, especially in the apocalyptic version of Earth. Why not? You can destroy as many buildings as you want, you can destroy as much of the ground as you want, you can destroy the sky if you want. It doesn't matter, because you can see this amazing, amazing fight between two literal gods. Oh, it'll be so good. It'll be so good. And in this movie, we actually saw Omega Beams. Hell yeah, Mega Beams being super powerful. People were like, Darkseid is just another Thanos. Well, for one, Darkseid was created before Thanos, so there's that. But two, Do you see Thanos having laser vision eyes without the use of gloves or kind of magic gems? No, Thanos is just a powerful dude. Darkseid would destroy him. I promise you that. He would destroy him in an instant. Like, no question. No question. Thanos would lose. I may have made people angry there. Oh well, I don't care. Let's get back on myself a little bit because I forgot to mention something that happened in the Steppenwolf fight. Now this thing actually is something, again, that I've watched quite a few like Easter egg breakdowns and people doing reviews and stuff, and like since my own personal immediate, like, you know, looking at Justice League Snyder Cut, this is something that stuck out to me straight away, and it was when Steppenwolf taunts the crap out of Wonder Woman. And he's like, I watched your sisters burn and die. Basically saying he destroyed Themyscira, which obviously he didn't if you watched the film, which is why you're here if you haven't. But he obviously didn't destroy Themyscira. He didn't destroy every single Amazon that exists. Obviously one of them calls him out on this and says you're a liar. But one thing I do think that he wasn't lying about was the fact that he went, if you were there, you could have stopped me. But then he was like, well, time to have a fight, because now he's full of mother box like evil and power and stuff, and they had a really cool little fight, and oh man, Wonder Woman gets him good in this. Wonder Woman kicked ass in this movie. I've thought about it, and she really kicked ass in this movie. But yeah, like I said, Steppenwolf fully admitted is if she was on Themyscira right there and then, none of this would have happened. Imagine the weight of that being put onto Wonder Woman, and if that happens again, if there's another film, and she thinks about what he says, just kind of has a random flashback to him saying that, and she's going, well, should I have stayed on Themyscira? Like, you know, I should be a protector of Mother Box. Maybe she should be a protector of Mother Box. Yeah, that was some cool stuff anyway. I just thought it was a really nice moment, a really nice line to throw in there, and, you know, kind of like a full-on, like, teasing moment. I thought was really good. A couple of things that people definitely didn't enjoy is the length of the film itself. It's 4 hours long. The version I watched was 3 hours and 57 minutes, and that was on the Now TV app. Apparently the film is 4 hours and 5, so I'm not sure what I missed. But that's the version we got anyway, the version I got to watch. But its length, you know, it didn't bother me at all. It really didn't bother me. I don't care about the film being 4 hours long. I'll happily sit down and watch all 3 extended versions of Lord of the Rings in one day. It doesn't bother me. This day and age, superhero movies tend to be about 2.5 hours long anyway. Adding another hour and a half for me isn't going to hurt. Would I go and see this film in a cinema? Absolutely. I would see the extended version of the Snyder Cut if there was one in the cinema. Yeah, I just couldn't get enough of this film. But that doesn't mean to say that 4 hours wasn't too long. Now, just because I happily enjoyed myself, and I didn't think it was long at all, I thought the pacing was great, I really loved everything about it, I still admit that watching a film, and I haven't watched it again since, which I really wanted to, this is honestly the first film I wanted to watch immediately after watching it since Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. So it's a long time since the film's done that to me. I genuinely just wanted to watch straight away. But even just on that one watch and just thinking about the film, you could have easily cut down just a few slithers here and there. You know, the extended music scenes, or this extended, you know, especially like Aquaman kind of just taking off his shirt for no reason. I mean, I know he was going into the sea, but he was already wet. What would it have mattered to him? Like, it really wouldn't have mattered to him. But it just little tiny things like that could have just been slithered down. Apparently about 10% of this film is in slow motion, so that's 24 minutes of film. 240 minutes. Yes, 24 minutes of slow-mo in this film. And obviously, you know, a chunk of slow-mo there is necessary because of the Flash. We know this. A chunk of slow-mo is there because of the Flash, because how else are you going to display how fast this guy is moving without having to slow everything down? Because, let's face it, if you saw the Superman versus Flash fight in real time, it'll be Superman's held up. Oh, I'm all held up by you guys. Then all of a sudden, they are at a distance and he's just up in the air and Barry's on the ground. You wouldn't have seen any of that. So there's that. So, you know, there's checks and balances there. I, for one, personally, love the slow-mo. I really love the Zack Snyder movies. I have done since 300. In fact, I have done since Dawn of the Dead remake. When I first saw the remake, I wasn't too fan. I was proper fanboy of the original. But I watched it not long after seeing it for the first time, And I, well, do you know what? Yeah, it's a decent movie, isn't it? But yeah, I've really stuck with Zack Snyder. I love the Watchmen movies. Even the theatrical version of Watchmen, I enjoyed the director's version, and the black cut, whatever. I just enjoyed it. I love his movies. In conclusion, when it comes to the slow-mo, yeah, I really enjoy it personally. It's just my thing. I really like the idea of seeing things dramatically shown out. You know, what people are doing, even when Cyborg was hopping over somebody during the American football match, which is something we've seen in the past quite a lot with other directors. But it's just nothing that really, you know, took me away from the film at all. I enjoy that kind of thing. And again, obviously seen a Flash doing his thing, Wonder Woman kind of just like slow-mo, you know, dramatically Steppenwolfing him. And yeah, I like it. I like it. But I can understand why people don't enjoy it themselves. I can understand why people don't enjoy Zack Snyder movies. Personally, I just think they are a blast every time. I really enjoy the stories he tells, and I really enjoy that. But that's me. That's just me. And then let's get to the epilogue. Okay, so the epilogue is like half an hour long. We have the moment Slade Wilson turning up, so Deathstroke turning up onto Lex Luthor's yacht, which actually I remember way back when it first Justice League came out. I remember seeing the shots of this, but I remember watching the Whedon cut and thinking that, Whedon definitely filmed this bit, but then it just kind of, as soon as I saw it, it's like, oh yeah, of course he did. I actually remember seeing the promo shots for this. Duh. But we had this nice little scene going on there. It was actually one of my more liked moments in the Whedon cut. You know, seeing Deathstroke there, Joe Magneto doing his thing. I can never pronounce his name. If I got that wrong, I'm very sorry. But you had Lex there, and it was nice to kind of just see him right at the beginning in the Kryptonian ship, and then he's referenced as escaping and kind of just being bold, powerful, extremely confident Lex, because let's face it, he wasn't twitchy in this scene, and it wasn't weird. It wasn't weird to see an unconfident Lex. And at this point, right at that moment, I enjoyed Eisenberg in that one. I wasn't a huge fan of him in Man of Steel, even though I just genuinely love that film. Oh, not Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, even though I genuinely love The Suicide Squad. Not the film, but the new film that's coming out, I believe, this year. Because we are getting this one with John Cena and Peter Capaldi and Fleur LeBeouf and God knows how many other people that are in it. They're just the first three that popped in my head. But we got this film coming out. We're probably never going to get the Ayer cut, which is a shame because Will Smith was brilliant in it. I'm okay with Will Smith. He's alright. But he was actually brilliant. I really loved him as Deadshot in this. Jared Leto clearly had some potential to be something very interesting, as we saw in the Snyder cut. So I'd like to have seen more of that. And I wanted to see more of that anyway, because I loved the visual design of him was great, apart from damaged across his head. The visual design of him was great. It just reminded me of my personal favourite Joker, which is in Batman R.I.P. And it's in Return of Batman and Son, which I know is not the greatest comics. People don't really like those, but I'm rambling, it doesn't matter. But yeah, we had some really potential cool stuff. Yeah, Margot Robbie was great as Harley Quinn, but I don't think she quite found her feet until we got to Birds of Prey, which actually was a surprisingly good movie. I genuinely enjoyed that film. But I don't think she found her feet as Harley in the cut we had of the Ayer cut. So the cut we had of Suicide Squad. So, you know, I'd be interested to see what they did there. And it'll be nice to see if they actually do it. Why wouldn't they? After the success of Justice League, and you know you've got a feature film's worth of footage of one character at least, and then you know you've got other like footage that you can use for the actual film as well. We know that because there's trailers that prove that. You know, why wouldn't they do this? And I reckon they'll probably just kind of let the Snyder cut settle a little bit, and then they'll go, do you know what? We're going to do it. Let's greenlight it. And then in 2022, we'll have the Ayer cut, which will be interesting. Be interesting, anyway. Anyway, I feel I've rambled quite a lot. I'm looking at my screen. I've recorded 23 minutes of footage right now. Obviously, this video isn't 23 minutes. I'll have it cut down at least by a couple of minutes. I'm sorry it is very long. Thank you ever so much for listening to me ramble. I hope you... well, if you disagree with what I've said, please comment below. If you agree with what I said and you praise me, please do that too. That would be fantastic. I really would enjoy that. But, you know, like, generally comment below. You know, we have plenty of videos as well. I myself had another video on Justice League, as I mentioned before, my first impressions. Matt here at Respawning has done a spoiler review as well, which is very different to mine. So, you know, check it out as well. You know, the links will be below. There should be cards around here, blah, 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 blah. But links below. But guys, you know, we have loads of stuff here at Respawning and YouTube and on our website. So, you know, check us out. But most of all, have yourself a great day and don't forget to be nice to each other, yeah?